Hey. Everybody enjoying springtime so far? The month of April. April. The only month of the year where rabbis ask you if you're Jewish and Mormons ask you if you're stupid. So it's springtime. It's time for family reunions. Anybody enjoy getting ready, getting excited? No, it's not. Same here. Let me ask you, have you ever had a time in your life when you found yourself completely surrounded by people you just didn't like? I had a time like that in my life. It was called birth. Yeah, my sister's a nurse in a detox ward. She went through a really rigorous training program for that job. It was called childhood. I helped my father get the education that he wouldn't have gotten if I wasn't smarter than my parents. General Custer, General Patton, General Equivalency Diploma. So, there's a lot of fake news going on there. I'm not a big fan. I don't know if you realize this, but a little over 20 years ago, we invaded Iraq. So back 20 years ago, there was no such thing as fake news. There was just the truth that we didn't want to believe. So we split it into good news and bad news. You remember 20 years ago? Good news, we found weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Bad news, they're called Americans. People always ask me, hey, you look pretty successful. Why did you choose to become a stand-up comic? And I think it's because I was always thinking that maybe I was a little too smarter than anybody else around me. I remember my first day at Catholic school. I was fooling around in the back with some of the other boys. A nun comes up screaming at me, "Where do you think you are? Home?" I don't know, are you drunk? So, I just recently turned 60, so I've been really trying to evaluate what my life has been about up to this point. And I realize it's about the 3 C's: comic books, Catholic school, cooking shows. When I was a little kid, my parents were afraid that I was a little too obsessed with comic books, so they sent me to Catholic school. Now I'm over 60, so I'm on some dating apps, and there's a lot of women that are foodies, so I have to watch a lot of cooking shows to try and pick up my game to learn how to cook well. But I swear to God, I hope that my memory isn't as good as it used to be, so I hope I never become a born-again Christian. Moses parted the waters, or was it Ant-Man? Jesus fed the multitudes, but he overcooked the tilapia. So I'm a big fan. I've always been drawn to the entertainment industry. How about Mr. Alan Cumming setting this up for us today? One thing I don't like about the entertainment industry, don't you hate it when people in the entertainment industry do a farewell tour that lasts longer than their actual career? You know what I'm talking about? Elton John, Billy Joel, the Pope. All right, one of them said farewell. So a friend of mine, I live on the Upper West Side. This friend of mine's he's also an actor wannabe like me, but he's venting one night. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, I am sick of the Star Wars franchise. Crazy fans, lousy costumes, disappointing sequels. I was like, wait a minute. That's not the Star Wars franchise, that's the Catholic Church. Have you seen the most recent sequel the Catholic Church attempted? It's called The Two Popes. What's next? The Three Stooges? Well, think about it. I think they do a better job running the Catholic Church. Could you imagine going to confession? Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. And matrimony, in the name of the Lord, I now pronounce you man and wife. Maybe I'm overthinking it. See, I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I call it atheist training. You guys know about Catholics?
You know a little bit.
You touch yourself, you're going to hell. You touch little boys, you're going to Boston. Catholics are big on funerals. Now, personally, I'm going to get cremated. I like to think outside the box. Catholics like pain. They like pain so much, they took the Bible and they added more chapters. Well, we just made it through Easter weekend, so this time of year I often ponder if Jesus really existed. I also wonder, if Jesus, would have come back. I mean, if you were him, would you? Think about this. He spent every single day of his adult life surrounded by hairy, sweaty Middle Eastern men who constantly pressured him into telling stupid stories and doing stupid things. He was unfairly persecuted. He was capped with a crown of thorns. He was nailed to a cross with flat nails. He was punctured in the side like a dead killer whale on The Deadliest Catch. The only two women in his life were a virgin and a redhead, and he only got to be dead for 3 fucking days? Come on! Can you imagine God coming over after 3 days with that wake-up call? Come on, kid, get up. We already heard back from the marketing team. They already started printing the t-shirts. This is what we have so far. Is my savior. It's all about you. Come on. Maybe I'm overthinking this. You think? See, here's the thing. I'm an engineer. I've always been an engineer. I thought about becoming a mortician because I like sex. When I was a little kid, I told my parents I wanted to study anthropology. My father went apeshit. In graduate school, I took a course in evolution. I felt like a fish out of water. So I'm a failed actor, thanks. I don't take directions well. I was at a commercial audition. His casting director says, "Can you be a little more Catholic?" I forgave him. I've been in a lot of student movies. I got loved back. Right before COVID, I got cast in a new show. This would have been a great show, too. It was about this all Jehovah's Witness paramedics unit. Third Watchtower. See, here's the problem. When you start really getting into performing, writing, taking lessons, there's the craft of comedy, and there's the business of comedy. You want to see a demonstration of the craft of comedy?
Yes.
Acting, I should say.
Sorry.
Craft of acting. Is this a dagger? Which I see before me, the handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? You want to see a demonstration of the business of acting?
More than anything.
I get my Viagra at ShopRite! So I'm over 60. I used to drink in old man's bars. Now I drink in bars. I used to date older women. Now I date women. They made a reality show about my sex life. Antiques Roadshow. So it's hard being on a dating app when you're over 60. I have some very awkward moments. I had a woman who's a widow. She showed up with her late husband's ashes. Shlomo had a hard time letting go. That was kind of an awkward date. Am I supposed to buy Shlomo a drink? I was at a date. This woman says, "Hey, when I was in prison," so this kind of piqued my interest. Finally, she says, "A gentleman wouldn't press. A lady wouldn't have been in prison." I had a date with a woman with no teeth. The rest of her was okay, so I took her home and had sex with her. But then afterwards, she asked to borrow my tape measure to see if her furniture would fit in my apartment. I said, "Wait a minute, this is not serious. This is just kind of a one-night stand. And by the way, you have no teeth." She burst out into tears. She says, "You have no soul." I said, "No, you don't understand. You have no teeth." Remember that dating app we met on? Go look at my photos. You know what you don't see? A soul.
Yeah.
Look at your photos. You know what you see? Teeth. You want this to be serious? I have some friends that are devout Christians. They know people. There's a guy on the internet. $20, soul. You want to have this to be a relationship? You go find. I'll go find a soul. You find your teeth. This has been great. I'm Pete Glismann. Hope to see you guys in town.